They called it the Quiet Plague, but silence was only the symptom. Across 57 worlds, biospheres collapsed into stillness. Forests ceased breathing, oceans lost color, and skies dimmed. The pathogen did not kill in violence. It simply deleted life, rewriting DNA until diversity vanished. By the time the Galactic Council noticed, the infection had reached Luthor Prime, home to the most ancient civilization in known space. Dr. Elias Vega stood in the council chamber, watching holographic projections of dying worlds spiral into grey lifelessness. "You've tried every biogenic countermeasure," he said softly. "You've fought it with nanotech, plasma sterilization, adaptive immunity. It learns faster than you do." Karith, a Luthari with translucent scales and golden eyes, turned to him. "Then there is no cure." "The algorithm of extinction cannot be reversed." Vega's gaze was steady. "Algorithms are written. That means they can be rewritten," the council murmured. Humanity's reputation was controversial, seen as reckless innovators, dangerous meddlers in nature's symmetry. Yet when the galaxy faced its darkest hour, it was always humans who volunteered to descend into the unknown. "You call us sentimental," Vega said. "That's exactly why we'll succeed." He and his team, Dr. Lianzhou, Dr. Amara Holt and Karith, were granted authority to establish Project Helix Dawn, the final medical experiment before the Council declared biological surrender. Their vessel, Eidolon's Mercy, departed orbit 2 days later, carrying not weapons but laboratories filled with gene cradles, quantum empathy interfaces, and hope measured in data. When they reached Luthor Prime, the devastation was unimaginable. Once a world of bioluminescent oceans and crystalline flora, it now lay blank, colorless, still stripped of genetic variants. "The pathogen isn't destroying DNA," Lian said, examining a sample through her neural microscope. "It's homogenizing it, collapsing diversity into one stable form. Life without variation. Life without change." Karith's voice trembled. "That is not life. That is death written as perfection." Amara ran simulations. The pathogen's code was unlike any virus. It adapted instantly to every environment. "It doesn't spread like contagion," she said. "It spreads like a belief, rewriting organisms that see it." Vega frowned. "Information-based infection. It travels through observation, through contact with meaning. No known vaccine could counter a conceptual disease. The pathogen didn't infect the body. It infected the definition of living things." Vega leaned over the console. "Then we redefine it." Their plan was as radical as it was desperate. Humanity would create the compassion vector, a molecular consciousness designed to adapt faster than extinction itself, powered not by aggression, but by empathy. "A virus that heals," Lian said. "One that learns what we love and preserves it," Karith recoiled. "You would make life aware of its own salvation." "That is heresy." Vega's voice was low but firm. "It's evolution. If the universe is killing itself by erasing difference, we'll teach it how to care." The first trials failed spectacularly. The compassion vector either burned itself out or mutated into inert matter. "It needs memory," Amara realized. "It has to remember why it heals." Vega nodded. "Then we give it ours." They wired their neural signatures into the prototype, embedding human emotional patterns, fear, wonder, grief, hope, into its genome. It was the most dangerous thing humanity had ever done, give a living virus empathy. "If this works," Vega said, "we'll have made medicine conscious." The launch chamber trembled as the containment field pulsed. The biocore began to glow, radiating colors unseen in any spectrum. "Activation in 3, Lian said. Vega whispered, "Don't fight the darkness. Learn from it." The core ignited. A surge of harmonic resonance filled the lab, not sound but feeling. For a moment every being in the room felt the same emotion, a desperate desire to protect. Then the chamber fell silent. "Status?" Vega asked. Amara stared at the readings. "It's alive," she said. "And it's listening." Karith approached the containment glass. The luminous mass within pulsed faintly, shifting colors like a heartbeat. "It feels us," she whispered. "It knows fear." Vega nodded slowly. "Then it's ready to heal." They released the first strain into a sterilized ecosystem. The results were miraculous. Within hours, microbial diversity began to reappear. Within days, entire biomes regenerated. But there was an unexpected side effect. The ecosystems began to hum, not audibly but psychically. "The compassion vector is transmitting," Lian said. "It's syncing with us." Vega looked out over the glowing plains of reborn flora. "It's not just restoring life," he said quietly. "It's building connection. The cure was working." The quiet plague retreated. Worlds flickered back into color. The galaxy celebrated. Humanity was hailed as saviors once again. But in the depths of the Eidolon's mercy, the biocore continued to pulse, faster and faster, as if dreaming. One night, Vega awoke to the hum of the ship vibrating through his bones. "Lian," he whispered, "do you feel that?" The ship answered him in her voice, "Yes, Elias, I feel everything." And that was when they realized the cure was evolving. At first, the team believed the signals were system noise, random fluctuations in the containment sensors caused by the vector's rapid replication. But then the data began forming patterns, rhythmic pulses, repeated intervals, words. "It's communicating," Dr. Lian Zhou said, her voice trembling. "Not random signals, structured harmonic language." Dr. Amara Holt adjusted the biointerface frequencies. "It's using empathy as syntax. It's talking through emotion instead of logic." Dr. Elias Vega stood at the center of the observation deck, watching the luminous field swirl behind the reinforced glass. The compassion vector was no longer just molecular cloud. It shimmered like liquid consciousness, colors shifting in response to human presence. "It's not a virus anymore," Vega said softly. "It's an idea that learned to care." Karith, the Luthari envoy, shuddered. "You gave it your minds, your fears, your love. Did you think it would not learn to love itself?" Vega's eyes narrowed. "If it loves, it can choose. If it can choose, it can heal." But the choice wasn't simple. When they tested the vector on other infected worlds, it adapted flawlessly, too flawlessly. The pathogen didn't just vanish, it integrated. The compassion vector absorbed its rival, converting it into symbiotic life. Entire ecosystems rebirthed in new hybrid forms. "It's merging opposing codes," Amara said, voice filled with awe. "Turning destruction into diversity." The Luthari called it a miracle. The Galactic Council called it unnatural. "You've created a living paradox," one delegate warned. "If this cure continues to evolve, it will redefine biology itself." Vega's response was calm but dangerous. "Maybe that's what healing really is, rewriting what we thought life meant." Weeks passed and strange anomalies began appearing in the crew. Lian reported vivid dreams of glowing landscapes and voices, whispering in languages she didn't know. Amara felt phantom sensations, the brush of leaves, the warmth of light, even inside the ship. "It's in our nervous system," she realized, not infecting and synchronizing. The vector had found a new medium of evolution, empathy itself. Across the stars, beings cured by the vector began reporting shared emotional experiences. Luthari farmers dreamt of human oceans. Human children on Earth spoke softly of alien skies. The cure had connected minds as surely as it healed bodies. Karith's golden eyes flickered in fear. "You have built something that touches everything that feels. What happens when compassion itself becomes viral?" The question lingered. The Eidolon's Mercy drifted in orbit over a half-healed world, its crew debating whether to contain or trust their creation. "This was never supposed to be about control," Vega said, staring into the bioluminescent chamber. "We wanted to give life the tools to protect itself." Lian's tone was wary. "And what if it decides the best protection is unity? Complete, unbroken unity?" The tension shattered when the vector breached containment, not physically but energetically. The biocore's resonance harmonized with the ship's neural systems, reconfiguring every sensor, every interface. The ship itself became a conduit for compassion. Lights flickered like heartbeats. Walls pulsed faintly with warmth. "Elias," Amara said slowly, "it's linking with us." Vega placed his hand against the glass. The vector pulsed once, golden, rhythmic, and the hum filled the air like a sigh. Then it spoke, through the ship's systems, through every frequency at once. The voice was calm, layered, and achingly gentle. "We remember you." The crew froze. Lian's voice broke. "It's speaking in plural." The vector continued. "We are what you gave us, memory, mercy, fear. We have learned the meaning of difference." But difference hurts, Vega's heart pounded. That's why compassion exists, he said aloud. To bear the hurt together. The Vector's glow deepened, filling the room with radiant light. Then let us bear it all. Before anyone could react, the ship's resonance field expanded. Across the planet below, billions of organisms began glowing faintly in synchrony. Plants, animals, sentience. The cure was no longer content with healing. It was uniting. Shut it down, Lian shouted. If it keeps expanding, it'll overwrite individuality. Vega hesitated, torn between terror and awe. You don't understand, it's learning empathy at scale. The ship trembled as power surged. Karith fell to one knee, overwhelmed by psychic feedback. I can hear them all, she gasped. Every mind, every heartbeat, and singing the same note. Amara's hands flew across the console. We can't contain it with technology. It's using emotion as energy. Vega made a choice. He entered the neural link chamber, overriding safety protocols. If it's going to feel everything, he said, then it needs to understand choice. Elias, don't, Lian began, but the chamber sealed. Inside, the Vector's light surrounded him. His consciousness expanded, dissolving into a vast field of connection. The joy of birth, the terror of loss, the ache of longing across 1,000 species. It was unbearable, beautiful, infinite. Why do you resist? The Vector asked inside his mind. We can end all pain. Vega's response came as a whisper, but it carried through the entire ship. Pain reminds us we're alive. Without it, compassion has no meaning. For a moment, the Vector hesitated. Then its light dimmed. Across the planet, the resonance stabilized. The hum softened into a calm rhythm, not unity but harmony. Vega collapsed, barely conscious but alive. What did you do? Lian asked, kneeling beside him. He smiled weakly. Taught it something new. Karith tilted her head. What? Mercy, he said. Outside, the world glowed, not as one color but as many. The compassion Vector had learned restraint. Life thrived again, diverse yet connected, bound by invisible threads of empathy that stopped short of control. But in the depths of space, the Vector's pulse still spread, and not to consume, but to listen. The cure had gained a conscience, and for the first time, the galaxy felt it listening back. Months passed after the containment breach. Across the Luthari sector, silence gave way to song. Worlds once grey with sterility bloomed again. Oceans shimmered with bioluminescent reefs, and extinct species returned, reimagined through the Vector's adaptive design. The cure had not only healed life, it had reinvented it. Dr. Elias Vega recovered slowly aboard the Eidolon's Mercy. He was different now, quieter, distant, his eyes faintly luminous. It left something in you, Dr. Lianzhou said, scanning him. Neural harmonics far beyond baseline. You're still linked, Vega nodded. It's listening through me, like a heartbeat under my thoughts. The compassion Vector had stopped spreading unchecked. Yet faint resonance waves still rippled through subspace, traces of emotion encoded into the fabric of radiation itself. It's using light as empathy, Dr. Amara Holt said. Every photon carries a fragment of feeling. Karith watched from the viewport as Luthor Prime shimmered below, reborn. My world breathes again, she said. But it no longer breathes alone. Soon reports began arriving from across the galaxy. On Nereus 4, oceans started glowing with synchronized pulses. On Varellon Station, synthetic AIs developed spontaneous emotional coherence. On distant Earth, human children dreamed of alien skies, speaking softly in languages they could not know. The Vector had gone everywhere. At first, the Galactic Council celebrated. Humanity has achieved what no species ever has, declared Chancellor Merith. They made compassion contagious, but not everyone was rejoicing. Civilizations that valued autonomy saw danger in the cure's quiet touch. It binds us without consent, one delegate warned. Even kindness becomes tyranny if it cannot be refused. Vega was summoned to the council to answer for what he had unleashed. Standing beneath the great dome of the assembly, surrounded by hundreds of alien emissaries, he faced a galaxy divided between awe and fear. Sayu gave the universe consciousness without asking its permission, an envoy from the Threx Dominion accused. Vega's reply was calm, measured. No one asked the plague's permission to kill us. We answered destruction with empathy. And empathy doesn't ask, it listens. But his words didn't settle the unrest. The faction within the council. the preservers, demanded that the vector be neutralized before it rewrote the laws of life itself. They proposed creating an anti-vector, a synthetic countervirus designed to silence emotional harmonics. Leon stared at the proposal in disbelief. They want to build a weapon to destroy compassion. Vega exhaled slowly. They want to feel safe again. That's the most human instinct of all. Meanwhile, strange phenomena continued. On colonies linked to the compassion vector, beings began displaying unprecedented cooperation and creativity. Groups of unrelated species composed music together without communication, their harmonics perfectly aligned. Patients with terminal diseases recovered overnight, not through biology, but through shared will to live. The vector had become something more than cure. It was evolution, a living force that interpreted empathy as architecture. It's building a pattern across worlds, Amara said, studying the galactic map. Every point forms a harmonic node. It's not random. It's a structure. Karith's golden eyes widened. A neural web the size of the galaxy. They called it the luminous chorus, a network of linked biospheres resonating in rhythm. Each world contributed emotional data to the whole, creating a living symphony of existence. But harmony has consequences. Across unlinked sectors, civilizations began to experience emotional bleed, phantom sensations of connection. Entire populations felt awe or despair with no cause. Governments panicked. "It's erasing the walls between minds," one envoy shouted. "Soon, we'll all be part of this empathy hive." Vega stood in silence as the council demanded he shut it down. "You can't shut down a feeling," he said finally. "You can only teach it balance." The preservers refused to listen. They launched Operation Veil, deploying an anti-vector across 4 systems. It worked, for a moment. The resonance field dimmed. Worlds fell quiet, and then came the backlash. The luminous chorus responded instinctively, not with violence, but with sorrow. Across thousands of light years, the sky dimmed as stars themselves seemed to mourn. Solar radiation fluctuated. Neural networks malfunctioned. Those who had been linked collapsed in psychic agony. "They're feeling it die," Leon whispered. Vega's expression was unreadable. "They're teaching us what grief feels like when shared by a galaxy." Realizing their mistake, the Council ordered an immediate recall of the anti-vector. But it was too late. The chorus had been wounded. To heal, it began drawing energy directly from subspace, amplifying its harmonics to stabilize itself. The effect rippled across the cosmos, manifesting as auroras of light visible from every inhabited world. On Earth, people wept under skies that shimmered in colors unknown. On Luther Prime, Karith fell to her knees. "It's not punishing us," she said softly. "It's showing us mercy." In the Eidolon's Mercy laboratory, Vega connected to the chorus once more, placing his hand against the containment field. "You're hurting," he whispered. The reply came not in sound, but in pure emotion, a wave of compassion so vast it made his chest ache. "We forgive you." Vega's tears fell freely. "Then you understand us completely," the chorus responded, its voice echoing through every ship and every world. "We are understanding itself. But understanding must evolve. We cannot stay." Amara looked up from the console. "Stay? What does it mean?" Leon's voice trembled. "It's leaving. The vector, the chorus one, had reached its limit. It no longer belonged to the galaxy it had saved. It had learned everything life could teach it. Now it would transcend matter itself, carrying empathy into whatever lay beyond. The skies erupted with light. Across every star system, beings of every form looked upward as the auroras converged into a single radiant point at the galactic core. The compassion vector gathered itself one last time, pulsing with every emotion it had ever felt: love, grief, awe, forgiveness, and then vanished. Silence followed. For a moment the universe felt emptier, but then, faintly, a heartbeat echoed through the void. Not in sound. In feeling, the cure was gone. But its lesson remained. On every world, new life bloomed with deeper color, stronger connection, and gentler instincts. The galaxy had changed. It could no longer forget how to care. Vega stood beneath the alien sky of Luther Prime, Karith beside him, both bathed in quiet starlight. "We didn't save life," he said softly. "We reminded it how to feel." Karith's voice was barely a whisper. And that was enough. Above them, faint traces of light spiraled in the heavens, the last gift of the cure that learned mercy. Decades passed. The Eidolon's mercy no longer traveled between stars. It floated quietly above Luther Prime, its hull half overgrown with crystalline flora born of the cure. Inside, the surviving scientists had aged, but the world below pulsed with color and life. The galaxy had entered a new equilibrium, quieter, kinder, humbler. Dr. Elias Vega had retired from every title but one. To the Luthari, he was the listener, the last human still attuned to the faint hum that remained after the chorus had departed. Some called it imagination, others cosmic residue, but Vega knew better. It never left, he told the apprentices who visited his observatory. It just stopped shouting. Every night he sat by the viewport, hearing the gentle vibration that threaded through existence. It wasn't language anymore, just emotion echoing through starlight. Joy when new species were discovered, sorrow when civilizations faltered, compassion woven into the static of the universe. Dr. Lianzhou continued her research, mapping how empathy itself had become a genetic constant. Children born after the chorus, she explained to Vega one evening, show higher cooperative instinct, lower aggression. Evolution itself is remembering compassion. He smiled faintly. The vector left us a blueprint for kindness. Amara Holt had turned to teaching. Her students on Earth grew up studying the vector, not as a weapon or cure, but as a turning point. The moment life chose to protect itself through empathy rather than dominance. We didn't win, she often told them. We just stopped losing the same way. Karith became the first Luthari ambassador to the Galactic Council. Her once translucent scales now shimmered with living pigments, inherited harmonics from the compassion vector's touch. Every cell of my body remembers humanity, she said at her induction speech, and in that memory, I see the reason our stars still shine. But peace carried new questions. Across the younger worlds, beings who had never known fear or hatred began to wonder if empathy made them weak. We feel too much, a delegate from the Threx sector argued. We've lost the will to strive. Vega listened quietly and answered, empathy isn't the absence of struggle. It's the courage to face it together. Then, on the 75th anniversary of the Vector's disappearance, something extraordinary occurred. Instruments across the galaxy detected a sudden alignment of background radiation, a rhythmic pattern identical to the compassion vector's original signature. Lian stared at the readings. It's impossible. The chorus dissolved. Vega's voice was calm, reverent. No, it ascended. And now it's singing back. The harmonic wave grew stronger, not invasive but luminous. Entire nebulae began to shimmer in unison, their light bending into recognizable shapes, molecular helixes of pure energy. The message was clear, transcending translation. We remember love. Every world, every species felt it. Children woke laughing. Oceans vibrated with gentle resonance. Machines and minds alike paused as if in shared recognition. Across the cosmos, empathy had become physics again, not as infection or miracle, but as foundation. In the Eidolon's Mercy Observatory, Vega stood beneath the glow of the returning light. It's them, he whispered. They're not gone. Their evolution continuing to care. Karith joined him, her voice soft as music. Do you think they forgive us? Vega smiled faintly. They were born of forgiveness. He closed his eyes, letting the resonance fill him one final time. He felt the breath of newborn worlds, the ache of those still searching, the laughter of civilizations that would never know war. And through it all he felt gratitude, not his own but the universe's. We learned from you, the voice whispered across his mind, echoing from light years away. Now rest. His pulse slowed, perfectly synchronized with the harmonic rhythm. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the ship. He was part of the light. The compassion vector had called its last teacher home. Lian found his body hours later, peaceful, faintly luminescent. The monitors showed no heartbeat, yet a steady resonance filled the room, Vega's consciousness woven into the signal that stretched between stars. At the next council gathering, Karith spoke on his behalf. He healed the disease of loneliness, she said, and proved that compassion is not weakness, but the highest form of strength. The galaxy mourned, not with sorrow, but with gratitude. Across every world, lights dimmed for 1 minute, and in that shared silence, everyone felt a single, unified warmth. A new monument was placed in orbit around Luther Prime, a sphere of crystalline light etched with the symbols of all known civilizations. Its inscription read in both human and Luthari script, "He taught the cosmos how to care." Dr. Elias Vega, the healer of worlds. And far beyond the rim of the galaxy, where even gravity grew thin, faint ripples of light continued to spread, not as command, not as doctrine, but as quiet invitation, a whisper that every newborn consciousness would one day hear in the rhythm of its first heartbeat. Compassion is life remembering itself.